know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K. I know you heard me on the radio. Flexing, she loved the sound of my voice, it's the best thing. Daydreaming of the jazz all day. Pick up the phone late night with Larry K.
Fury family, Miami Dolphins fans, everybody out there, welcome to another edition of LG Shaking the Panel on another beautiful Wednesday night. Sorry I'm a little bit late again, just been struggling with life and getting everything situated and get everything on point and getting everything ready for you guys to come on here and talk our beloved Miami Dolphins. I'm trying to keep the show tonight to like an hour or so if you're going to be on the panel, I know there's not a lot of people in here now, so you're not going to hear this, but maybe they can go back and hear it. I'm going to try to get everybody on, get their thoughts and everything, and then head out. I got a crazy week this week, but nonetheless, it's still a victory Wednesday for the Miami Dolphins. It's a victory Wednesday for Miami Dolphins fans, and that's always a good thing. We did get some poll results for the Shake Hefner drink, which I'll bring him on to announce himself in a few minutes. And look, we got a big game coming out. The Chicago Bears game is a lot to talk about. There's a lot to digest. All right, a whole bunch to digest in that game. At the end of the day, we struggled mightily on defense, but our offense absolutely, without a doubt, showed out. And they did what they were supposed to do. Is what you expect of Tua Tagovailoa. The dude is still undefeated as the starting quarterback when he starts a game and he finishes a game. The Miami Dolphins are undefeated this season. So it's a big deal when Tua plays. We want Tua to keep playing. It's very important that Tua keeps playing. And we'll just leave it at that. The defense, as usual, man, they've been struggling all year, and they struggled once again this year. And, how are we going to solve that problem? Well, hopefully we start to get a little more healthy. A guy like Kohu is playing pretty good. You got Crossan. Crossan struggled, man. He could have cost us the game at the end there. And a lot of pundits, all over the football world wanted to sit there and say, oh, what about that pass interference? That pass interference changed the game, this and that. I'll tell you this. From where I'm sitting, from what, my perspective, X had a ticky-tacky nonsense. You're going to put your hands on a guy's hip once in a while just to see where he's going. You do it in basketball, and that's even less contact of a sport. That's all X did on that play. A while later, X catches a nice interception on the sideline. That would have sealed the game. And that would have sealed the game on the drive before. Okay? So, calls go back and forth in a game, and I don't like everybody harping on that. I am starting to sense out in the media sphere, which is why I'm glad that we have these fan-driven shows and these fan-driven commentators like myself, is I sense some kind of hate out in the stratosphere. I sense a little Miami Dolphins hate. Like, people are getting a little nervous that the Miami Dolphins might actually be for real, and I think they're getting a little bit of nervous that Miami actually may have this really high-powered offense that's going to be really hard to stop. Not only that, but I think they're nervous that Tua Tagovailoa is the real deal. A lot of people, put their stick in the sand, stake in the ground, said Tua's not it, he's too small, this and that and the other thing. So they're going to find excuses now. It's only because he's got Tyreek. It's only because he's getting calls. Don't worry about him. The defense is terrible. They're not going to be able to play in cold weather. So you got this game, which it's a duality, right, for these people, right, and for perception, and even for our own perception as fans. Where do we see this team going, right? On the one hand, it's okay. Tua's for real. The offense is for real. We're not playing. The Miami Dolphins are going places because they can light up anybody. They're on the road in Chicago against a quarterback who's feeling himself, who's setting records, running for 280-plus yards. The crowd is into it, and yet the Miami Dolphins still come away with the victory. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is this team has a whole lot of promise. They have a really high-powered, high-octane offense. You got to be scared of their offense. There's a lot to be scared of. However, their defense is very suspect. And if you get into a shootout, especially on the road, maybe with a more formidable opponent, maybe in the cold weather, maybe it's going to come back to bite you. So, it's an interesting duality that we have now. We're about midway through the season. You got Tyreek Hill, who's on pace to smash Calvin Johnson's record, Megatron's record. Now, I'll say this. I hope he does it in 16 games because I'm already here, and already today somebody put the qualifier. He's on pace to tie. He's on pace to tie in 16 games and beat him in 17. Like, bro, if you look at it, he might be on pace to do either slightly better or slightly worse in 16. I hope he beats him in 16 games so I don't have to hear that excuse either. But John points out that, watching the game reminded him of the Marino days on Sunday. Joe, what's up? I got to say I agree. I mean, I'm flashing back to when I'm, in wood-paneled rooms with an old TV that I got to stand up and change the channel on, with only goes up to channel 13, with the Dolphins playing, like Warren Moon and the Jets, all these other teams in the early 90s, because the way this team is playing reminds me of the Marino days. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Tua is Marino. Their styles are different anyway. It's going to be different no matter how you slice it. Dan Marino's a legend. Dan Marino's a Hall of Famer. All right, at the end of the day, thank you, Von Joe. I appreciate it. And by the way, guys, Von Joe reminded you guys, smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Help the algorithm, help the channel, smash the like button. If you haven't done so yet, smash the subscribe button. It's right underneath me. It takes a millisecond to smash it. And it does so much to help this channel keep going. It does so much for good football content, good Miami Dolphins content. If you haven't done so yet, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button. It's much, much, much appreciated. Really is. But it reminded me of the Marino days. Because we have this high-powered offense, and this is more than just a high-powered offense. This is an offense that's on pace to break records. This is an offense where our quarterback is leading in a lot of statistical categories. In a lot of statistical categories, let me rephrase, he finds himself in the top 5 to top 10. Okay? And, it's just an interesting thing. I wouldn't say it's nowhere near the Marino days. I mean, we're scoring 35 points. We're airing it out. You got Hill and you got Waddle breaking some of the records that Duper and Clayton set. So I'm not sitting here saying that from a legacy standpoint that in 20 years we're going to look at Tua and Hill and Waddle as equivalent to Marino and Duper and Clayton. But I'm saying at this juncture right now, watching the games, you get some of that nostalgia. My point is you're seeing an offense that's really high octane, that's really damn good. And not just, as a Miami Dolphins fan, like with Ricky and Ronnie, it's interesting, it's fun, we're winning some games. This is objectively one of the better offenses that we've seen. This is one of those seasons where we could be looking back at this offense as a prolific offense, not just as Dolphins fans, not just as hyper interested in Miami, but as football fans in general. And the world is taking notice. Like I said, some of them are getting agitated, trying to find excuses, trying to reassure themselves that we won't stick around. But right now, I think we could compete with anybody. You look at the Buffalo Bills, what they did Sunday, it's relevant to us, so I'll bring it up. They lose a game, they drop down, now they're 0-2 in the division. The New York Jets, who, watch out, you can't just say, the Jets, and I understand a lot of people say, okay, we're happy the Jets won because you want to knock Buffalo down a notch. The Jets aren't going to go to the distance. Very possible that the Jets don't go the distance. Very, very possible that the Jets don't go the distance. But right now, they're playing like they can hang around for quite a while, and they beat us. Albeit with our third-string quarterback, they lost Breece Hall, this other stuff. But I don't want to make excuses the way people are making excuses about us, about the Jets. Give the Jets their flowers right now. They're in the thick of the playoff hunt, and they took down the Bills. But when you look at Josh Allen, forget the injury. The injury, it looks like it might be minor, maybe an elbow sprain. He'll be around, he'll be back. But forget just the injury. The Buffalo Bills relied on Josh Allen to make clutch plays, and I said this when he played too. I said this about the Dolphins game. Everybody wants to say, oh, Josh Allen just missed one pass. If he didn't miss that pass, he's going to beat you guys. Well, he missed the pass. You know who didn't miss a pass that game that when it counted? Tua. And he missed passes again against the Jets. He had a rough game against the Jets. So I'm not anointing us anything. I'm not knocking the Bills down. I'm not doing anything. I'm just saying people want to sit around and people want to critique us and say we might not be there in the end and all this. Look around at the field. Everybody's got flaws here and there. Everybody's got issues they got to work out. And at this juncture, Josh Allen and the Bills don't look infallible. They don't look invulnerable. They look like we may have a shot at them. So anyway, as a Miami Dolphins fan midway through the season, the only thing you could say that you're unhappy about is injuries, right? If Tua hadn't been injured for 3 games, maybe we're undefeated. Maybe we have 1 or 2 losses, right? And we're even better positioned for the division and better positioned for the playoffs. And injuries on the defense. Like if we had Byron Jones and X and they were healthy the whole time and we had our, Needham and we had our full complement of defensive backs and Brandon Jones, you had these guys, I think we would be even in a better spot in our perspective, in my perspective, and my expectations would be a little bit higher. But other than those few things that you really can't avoid in any NFL season, that you really can't avoid in any football season, other than those things, you got to be kind of happy about where we're at. It's just unfortunate that we're in the AFC East, and now you're seeing the Bills are so good, and the Jets are even formidable. And then teams like Kansas City, and Baltimore are still going to make their moves. They're still going to play. Good thing we beat Baltimore because I think it's going to come into play later in the season. I'll tell you, I think it is. It very well could. Usually does. It sucks because there's other divisions in this league where you could go, you could have 8-7 losses and still win the division and get a home game. And if you're the Miami Dolphins, you're going to have to go above and beyond to win the division. One thing I will say about that before I bring Shake on, before I bring Greg on, and we start talking about, the results of the drink and everything else, we get their thoughts on everything. One thing that it's been bothering me and irking me and just agitating me for years now, ever since the NFL went from 5-team divisions to 4-team divisions, and ever since they implemented this new playoff format, now there's only one team that gets a bye. One thing that has always agitated me, and right now, we're a long way away from the playoffs. We're a long way away from this conversation. So, it doesn't have to be, it's not forefront of our minds, but it's going to show up on our minds eventually. Right now, you gotta start to think about this terrible seeding system that the NFL has, right? They have a seeding system where division winners are automatically seeded higher than wild card teams, regardless of the record. Now, that would make sense if every team was just playing within their division and you wanted to give incentive to win your division, and division record was what counted for who wins the division, i.e., if the only thing that, like in college football, you could be undefeated outside of your conference, but the only thing that matters for conference standings is your conference record because that's the only place you got common opponents, and that's what matters within the hierarchy of the conference. In the NFL, it doesn't really make sense because you all got a little bit of a different schedule, and then you're using you're using your overall schedule to determine the standings. So if you're going to use your overall schedule to determine your in-division standings, why are you automatically giving division winners a higher seed than a wild card winner if the wild card winner has a better record overall than a division winner, right? So if the AFC East second place team has a better overall record than the AFC West division winner, there is no reason why the division winner should have a home game and the wild card team should have to travel. If anything, the wild card team had a harder record because their division is stronger and they had to play those teams twice each, so they had a harder record. You're all playing the same teams in the conference pretty much, give or take. You're using overall record in the division anyway. Why aren't you using overall record in the playoff seeding? And the reason I bring that up is because this conversation is so prevalent now about how Miami is going to have to go on the road and it's going to be tough to win in the cold. And whether that's true or not, any team should have to talk about this. There's no reason like some West Coast team that could have a worse record than us, we might even beat, say, San Diego. And then we got to fly across the country when we have a better overall record, but they're using overall record to decide division winners and division standings. It doesn't make sense. Go ahead and give everybody who wins their division an automatic bid to the playoffs. That's fine. Three wild card teams and everybody who wins their division, 4 division winners, give them a spot. But from there, seed it based on record, overall record, seed or conference record, whatever you want to do. Seed it based on record. You shouldn't have an 11-4 team traveling to play, an 8-8 team. It's absolutely absurd. And the fact that it hasn't been discussed yet is nuts. Now, I hope it doesn't bite us. I hope it doesn't come into play for us. I hope we win anyway. I hope we win the division. And I'm not conceding that we can't play in the cold. Chicago was brisk. It was 60 degrees. We looked exactly the same as we do in Miami. But I know, and we all know, going out to Kansas City or Buffalo is not going to be fun. So, just saying. And I bet it would be very rare that it ever even happened that the division winners had a lower seed than the wild card. But when you have 4 division winners, and every year it seems like there's a weak division in both conferences, right? Each conference usually has at least one weak division. Then every year you're having a better team that's a wild card team have to play on the road against a division winner who's not that good and did not have as good of a season and did not have as many wins. And that doesn't make any sense. And John, to answer your question, he's hurt. He's dinged up. He's got a little elbow sprain, but it's nothing serious. I think he's going to try to play through it. If anything, maybe he misses a game. Maybe he misses 2. Does it throw off his throwing ability? We'll see. But you know something? And Triple S Podcast, what up, man? Welcome on. Guys, if you haven't done so, smash the subscribe button. If you're enjoying this content, this back and forth, smash that subscribe button. It takes a millisecond. Smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, share this link on your social media. Get more people in here. We're having a conversation about Miami every Wednesday at 7, man. But something about Josh Allen too, but I'm going to bring Shake on in a minute. Something about Josh Allen. Like, part of me as just like a relentless fan who's so sick of not winning in the playoffs, who's so sick of not winning the division. Part of me is like, oh, if he's hurt, we have an inside track at the division. Ha ha, it'd be funny. The Bills will lose if he's hurt, this and that. But part of me is like, I don't want him to be hurt, right? Because I want this to be a legitimate competitive season, right? Like, the Bills have a good team, but we have a good team too. The Jets are coming up. Like, let's take the Bills with their starter. Let's beat Josh Allen. Let's take the top of the division. Let's do that. Let's do that with Josh Allen. We already beat him once. Let him play. He struggled against the Jets. We beat him. Let Josh Allen play. When he gets hurt, and then as everybody's crying that he's hurt, and next year is like, well, Josh Allen's back. He didn't have Josh Allen when Miami made the playoffs. Didn't have Josh Allen to face when Miami won the division. Forget it. Let him play. Let him play banged up like we've been playing banged up. Let's go. I want Josh Allen. I want him healthy. Play him. I don't care. But one thing I don't want to hear ever again from Bills fans is that secondary's banged up. Our secondary's been banged up, but we had to play with our third-string quarterback for a couple games, and we had to play with a backup for 3 games. So don't talk to me about that nonsense. That's for damn sure. But with that, I'm going to bring on Shake, man. Shake Hefner. What up, my bro? He's got it, so he's going to light the pipe first before he speaks. This is how we do it on Victory Wednesdays here on Phin-Addict Fury.
Happy Victory Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Happy Victory Wednesday to you too, sir. So, Shake,
thank you, my friends.
Shake, we got some big news, man. I mean, you want to tell the people? I want you.
By 69%, it is called the Salty Tua. I made the drink, so now all I gotta do is add my garnishes, the pineapples.
There you go. So Shake is drinking the Salty Tua. You guys, I think it was upwards of 70, 80 votes. The people have decided. Now, the Salty Tua got out to a very early lead, I'll tell you that. But, the Spicy Tua, made a little bit of a run when people started voting more and more, but nonetheless, the Salty Tua won the day. We appreciate you guys participating in the poll, by the way. And we're going to have more polls coming up because you guys obviously liked it. We had a lot of participation. We appreciate the engagement on the channel. We appreciate the engagement with the show. So props for you guys jumping on that. And it's now the Salty Tua. So, Shake, I guess every Victory Wednesday you're going to have to sip that Salty Tua, huh?
Hell yeah. It's a good drink, too, so.
I love it, bro. So, Shake, and by the way, yeah, it sounds like a good drink. I'm going to have to go make it myself one of these Sundays just to try out what you're doing, and maybe we'll have to break bread, virtually and do a little cheers with it. But, Shake, what's your thoughts on the game last week, man? Don't go into the good, bad, the ugly because I'm going to play the intro first. But, overall, what are your thoughts on the team right now? We're kind of at the midway point last week, this week. What's your thoughts, bro?
Look, this is how I feel. They're running the New England-style defense, and there's no secret that Bill Belichick has always had a hard time containing mobile quarterbacks. That's one of his kryptonites is mobile quarterbacks. You get him Jacoby. Look, I think the Browns is going to be a tough game, but you get like one of those traditional quarterbacks, and he eats them alive.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah, I think I was going to say that too, Shake. I think that what sometimes is a little bit overlooked, I don't know, totally overlooked, but a little bit overlooked is this these quarterbacks that are mobile. I mean, we just struggle with them. This, like a Chubb. Chubb comes in and some people are, annoyed or whatever, like, how come Chubb didn't do anything? Could we trade Chubb? All this nonsense. It's like, yeah, but Chubb's not built for chasing down a mobile quarterback and following him around the edge and whatnot. Chubb is built for a guy who's in the pocket, for pressuring that guy, getting that guy down. So I don't think, it's a good point. It's well taken that this offense is really kind of based more on, going after those kind of guys that aren't as mobile and aren't as versatile. I agree with that, Shake.
And not to mention, we lost our one of our big blitzers, which was Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones was the strong safety. He was one of our big blitzers. He was fast and he knew how to hit.
Right. No, you're right.
He doesn't cover the shit, but he knows how to hit.
You're 100% right. And and he started actually, Big O insists too, and it might be true, it might not. We could debate it. Some people, want to discuss whether or not he started to cover a little bit better or not, but even I think he was helping his game out a little bit and did start to cover a little bit better, which was even better in his game. So losing him definitely hurts. I think somebody the other day posted something where he posted from the hospital, and he was on crutches. So that's another guy. Chalk it up to next year. We'll see him next year. But what'd you think of the offense?
The offense was lights out again. Other than a few questionable, the thing, color commentary from the Finn's Tailgate, shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with him, is that we see this trend. I forgot who said this phrase. One game, it's 2 games, it's a trend. If it happens in more than 2 games, it's a trend.
Right.
And we've seen multiple games now where, when it matters, for some reason, McDaniel's taking the ball out of Tua's hands, and they're running the ball on crucial 3rd down and 4th downs. They're taking that out of his hands. And I was always told that Tua is a rhythmic timer. So at the end of the day, if you're running, and passing one time, he's not getting into rhythm.
Right.
So that's the only thing that I question.
And I know they want to establish the run game. I understand that. I thought Jeff Wilson looked pretty nice in his debut, moving the chains, getting some tough yardage, being a change of pace for Mostert, giving Mostert a breather because Mostert's body is not going to take that pounding the way Wilson might be able to. I understand that. One of the other things, if you're talking about rhythmic passing, though, too, is when Tua's hot, man, he's hot. He's got the best 3rd down passer efficiency, I know this season, and I'm wondering, I think they might have said, I'm pretty sure I saw Joe Shad post that Tua's 3rd down efficiency rating is the best in history. since they started keeping track of third down passer efficiency or third down QB rating, whatever the metric is, since they started in 1991, Tua right now this season has the best third down passer efficiency in the league. The reason I bring that up is because you're talking about rhythm. And when we've seen Tua just driving the team down the field, just absolutely dominating, and then those 2 fourth downs we saw last week where McDaniel tries to get cute with this little out route to the tight end, whatever. Let Tua spread his wings, man. Run something to his 2 guys down the middle again like you've been doing and see what happens, you know. So, Shake, I'm going to jump into this real quick because then I want to talk about some other stuff that happened in the game. So let me just roll the tape.
The good. The bad. The ugly.
So with those in mind and those faces in mind, why don't you lay it on us?
The good. Special teams finally made a block punt, scoop and score to help us shift the momentum. It didn't keep the momentum, but I think that was the difference between a victory and a loss. That scoop and score. It kind of wore out the defense too a little bit to an extent.
Yeah, I agree. I think
that's good.
It was nice to see that. We haven't seen that in a long time, and that changes the complexion of games, Shake. Like, that game was going to be back and forth, and they were going to have the edge until we flipped it on them by scoring, you know, getting off schedule. We scored. Now we were the ones all game in the lead and them trying to play catch up. Huge thing. I hope we see more of that stuff.
All right, the bad is the run containment. Like my Gator brother, Bon Joe said, he hates how Phillips, he's a good tackler, but man, he made him look like a freshman at a D1 school.
He did. he did. I mean, I think he's gonna do it to a lot of people, but bro, he just dominated him. And I mean, the missed tackles when they had him, they had position on him more than once. And I understand some of the plays he's gonna outplay you. He's just gonna out execute you. But you gotta win at least 50%, at least 40% of those things. If you don't, that's what's going to happen. He's going to break records. And a lot of times, you're going to lose that game. And you're going to lose that game if you don't get some, favorable, non-calls and you don't have a quarterback to lighten it up and all that. You're going to lose that game. So we got to clean that up.
And one thing I noticed, and this is a lot of defense, they're poor tackling. Yeah. That's one thing you will never see in the New England defense. If they tackle you, you're going to the ground.
Right.
Here, I see a lot of broken tackles. Where they got the guy but couldn't bring him down.
Yes.
They got hands on him too many times. There's been too many plays where the defender will put hands on him, but all of a sudden it's a first down.
Right.
Poor tackling.
Yeah, and that's been happening with us for a long time. I don't know if they don't practice it enough. I don't know if it's a new generation thing where just a lot of teams are having trouble tackling because they just don't hit as much in practice in the offseason. I don't know what it is, but it's frustrating to see because, football is a tactical chess game just as much as it's a physical talent, athletic game. So when the coach makes a great call and the guy is meeting up with a guy in the backfield, you want to see him execute the play because that's part of the chess match. If he can't do that, you're kind of just throwing everything to the wind, and it's hard to get a read on Boyer and these other guys when the guys aren't making tackles. So, yeah, it's frustrating. What about the ugly, Shake?
And the ugly, what's going on in Indianapolis, bro?
Elaborate.
Oh, my God. You see, they fired their head coach, and they hired this guy named I guess he's an
Jeff
analyst.
Saturday.
Well,
I thought he was.
I want to have a little expert. I want you to hear, and you tell me what you think of this.
Here it is. I'm glad he doesn't have any NFL experience. I'm glad he hasn't learned the fear that's in this league. That's because it's tough for all our coaches. They're afraid. They go to analytics, and it gets difficult. I mean, he doesn't have all that. He doesn't have that fear, and there was no other candidate. We were fortunate that he was available, and he has tons of experience. He knows this game inside and out with relationships with coaches and players. And has been a consultant for us for several years.
Yeah, shocked would be an understatement, right? Shocked.
So now pretty much what he said, if you heard that, was that he's glad he doesn't have coaching experience because he doesn't have that fear. He goes in fresh. I want him next time he has to have an open heart surgery, the doctor he chooses doesn't have any experience in surgery, because that doctor is not going to have any fear.
Right. Yeah, no, and I always use that analogy with a lot of different things. With a lot of different things, I use that analogy. Like, you want a doctor who has no experience, who's not even licensed to operate on you just because he's outside the box. Like, I never understand that. I really don't. I don't understand. And in today's society, Shake, it's all about, like, no one has to pay their dues. No one has to build a resume. No one has to work their way up the ranks. No one has to, climb and acclimate as they grow older and as they get more. Everybody's just anointed. You're looking for the next prodigy, the next lightning in a bottle. You just want to bottle it up. And yeah, and that's the whole society. And it bothers me. But so he was a player, right, Saturday, if I remember. Yeah, he was a player. He played.
And he's a high school coach.
He was a Colts. He was a Colts player from '99 to 2011. That's what I thought.
He was also a high school coach. They said he had high school coaching experience. So.
All right, so he had a high school experience. Okay.
But you know what? Yeah. I just want to tell Mr. Magoo, take notes. That's how you tank.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just put a guy who doesn't have any fire your coach midseason. Put a guy with no experience in there. Yeah, you could do that. You got a Facebook user just going nuts because we dared to spend a few minutes talking about another team. Well, sir, you're going to have to hold on or rewind it. We'll get to Miami. Trust me, it's a Miami podcast. But we're going to talk a little bit about other things, too. I mean, we are men of sophistication. We are Renaissance men. We don't just, we're not single-minded all the time, so, cool out. But Saturday, yeah, I thought another thing that was controversial was I don't know if they circumvented the Rooney Rule by doing that, which is another set of problems that the NFL really doesn't need. So it's interesting. And I'm pretty sure I was watching Jeff Saturday on one of the pregame shows or something, and they were like, oh, he didn't show up. And I guess he didn't show up because he got hired and, left. So you know what it reminds me of, though? It reminds me of, and True Blazer tells us it was a Colts Ring of Honor player centered during the Manning era. So it reminds me of some kind of an NBA thing, where they just bring an old player who knows the system, just head coach. But this isn't the NBA. Basketball is not football. There's a lot of other moving parts. It's kind of crazy that they couldn't elevate somebody already on staff to be the interim coach. Why do you bring a guy like this in? Are you planning on leaving him there? And this is a way to let him test himself out? Or are you legitimately bringing this guy in just to sit there and steward the program for half a season? Weird stuff. That's the ugly. I appreciate it. I respect it, Shake. It's interesting, man. It's
By the way, the Rooney Rule, let me tell you how it works. The Rooney Rule, because Mike Florio, because he's a lawyer as well, he broke it down.
Yes.
He says the Rooney Rule only applies in the offseason.
Okay.
Once the season starts, that doesn't matter anymore, because that's how Todd Bowles got his job. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? So once the offseason, the Rooney Rule only applies for the offseason.
I got you. And I think but I think they probably have to go through formal interview processes. Even if you have an interim coach, you got to go through an interview process, even if he's the guy. And that's probably when the Rooney Rule would come into play after the season, which that makes sense too. So, interesting stuff, all around on that. So back to Dolphins talk here and the game we saw. I saw somebody else say that the reason our offense kind of stifled a little, and there's two ways to look at this, right? Because you could say our offense got stifled at the end, but if you're keeping it 100, we didn't really get stifled at the end. We drove into the red zone twice and failed on 4th and 2. So I don't even know if it's a proper characterization to say that Miami got stifled at the end of the game, but somebody made the comment that the Bears started to double both Waddle and Hill at the end of the game, and is that some kind of new book they're going to have out of Miami, because they were saying no one else was getting the same separation. Now, I will say, you got Mike Gesicki, that's what you got him for. You got Mostert, you got Wilson, and don't forget some of these other wideouts that we have here. You got Wilson, and by the way, he made a couple plays last week. So to me, I'm saying you want to double both of them, go for it. Because A,
Yeah.
I still don't think you could stop them every time. And B, we got plenty of dudes that are going to go out there and make plays. You're going to leave somebody wide open. What do you think about that, Shake? Because that's just the one thing I heard, and we did seem to slow down a little. But again, Tua was a little short on the throw to Waddle. We went for 4th and 2 twice. At the end of the day, I mean, what do you think of that? I don't know that we were stifled anyway.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, man, Monopoly Money Sanders, man, he screwed us over. That was a chip shot he missed.
That was bad.
And that's kind of what that's what kind of got Flores fired last year, because we lost 2 games because Sanders missed kicks.
Yeah.
Jacksonville game and the Atlanta game because of that.
Yeah, Sanders, it's crazy. Like he 2 years ago, the guy was lights out. I mean, he was hitting everything. And you know, to the point where we signed him, where there was all this media fanfare. We were asking him, like, I was watching segments on just Sanders as a Miami Dolphins fan. I was sitting there, like, watching YouTube segments where they're interviewing Sanders about his process of preparing for kicks and preparing for a game, because he was like a rising star. And now the dude he's hit or miss. Like you said, Monopoly Money. The dude is like, he could miss anything. That was a 29-yard field goal. He could miss that. He could make a 55-yarder and then miss 2 30-yarders. Like, yo, not again, you're looking at the defense, Shake. You're looking at the weather. Now you're looking at your kicker. I like this team a lot. I'm excited. I'm a fan. I'm enjoying the ride. I think we have a lot of potential the next couple of years, but we got some concerns if you're talking about a deep playoff run this year, Shake. You know, I think you got some legitimate concerns, being honest, and not trying to take the wind out of anybody's sails. This is a Dolphins fan show, but you got some concerns if you're a Dolphins fan. We know our flaws. We're not certain fans of other teams where you just think we're going to the moon all the time. We got some issues, Shake. What do you think?
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, man, it's like when I hire an accountant to do my bookworks, I expect the accountant to fix it. And that's they hired the coaches, so I'm going to let them fix it. You know what I mean? I'm just going to drink my Tua drink to
the salty Tua.
Yeah.
The salty Tua, sir.
And you know what's funny is, shout out to Cat for Life. I don't think he's in the chat, but if he is, this one's for you, bro. One thing about the media when it comes to Tua is they keep moving the goalposts.
Where the hell did you get that? What do you even? How do you have that? Like, what on earth?
Yeah, they move the goalposts on us, man.
They do. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, first it's Tua can't play. He's not going to do Tyreek's not going to do what he did in KC. Now Tyree's overdoing that. And they're like, well, it's just because of Hill, and then Tua's benefiting from a coach and a receiver, and you know, they'll make the playoffs, but they're not going to win. And then, you know, he can't throw the long ball, but now his average, they're still trying to say, oh, there's a lot of yards per after catch. Like, no, there's not. He's got his average air yards are tops in the league. Like, stop moving the posts, man. And where the hell did you get those posts? Those are some big ass posts, Shake.
It's from one of my displays I did a long time ago.
That's awesome. I absolutely love that. And look at this guy. We got Greg in here who said,
what's going on,
he's
Greg?
telling me he can't even make it, and all. Now he's here. What's up, bro? What's going on?
Yo,
And by the way, prayers out to the people in Miami. We got a hurricane coming.
Yeah.
And you know what I
another one.
noticed? Every time Buffalo loses, a hurricane comes to Florida.
Yo, what is with that? Some kind of voodoo? It's
I don't know.
ridiculous. I wish it would rain wings every time they lost, or something good, you know.
I know. That's what's up.
Greg, what's on your mind, bro?
Yo, we're going to the Super Bowl, bro. We're gonna.
See,
win
this
it.
is what. Where do you come up with this?
I
stuff,
love you,
bro?
Greg.
That's what I've been saying all week. But I just want to say the defense. You know, it's gonna get going. Hopefully, Jason Sanders needs to start making his kicks, man. And Tua, man, that guy is gonna be an MVP one day.
Yeah, he's playing lights out, Greg. I mean, he's playing very good, wouldn't you say?
And I just want to say this: with Mike McDaniel, he needs to, like, if he's gonna go for it on 4th down, he needs to give Tua, keep it in Tua's hands and call it plays. Like that 4th down where he threw it to Smythe, like he could have ran for it, but you know he threw it, which I like. He's playing safe, but I just feel like Mike McDaniel's got to stop. Like, he's got to let Tua go. He's got to let him off the leash a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
We got to see more salty Tua.
Yeah, and I like Salty too. I mean, Salty too is a great drink. It's also a pleasant attitude on the field from number one. I mean, it's great. But yeah, I agree. I mean, let the kid just let him go. I mean, let him call the plays. Like not all the plays. Let McDaniel, but you know what I mean. Let him audible. Like if it's third and short, let him decide if it's gonna a run or a pass and where he's throwing. Let him do it. You know, you don't have to put any kind of cuffs on him. Greg, let me ask you something. Are you at work right now, sir?
Yeah.
You are that dedicated of a Miami Dolphins fan and a Fury fan member that you are at work, still engaging in this show, providing expert quality commentary. And that, sir, I salute. I salute that.
Me too. Hey, by the way, one of my guilty pleasures in life, we all have guilty pleasures, right?
Of course, yeah, I got plenty of guilty
One
pleasures.
of my big guilty pleasures is when the Buffalo Bills lose. I like to go to the Phin-Addicts page.
Yeah.
Read the comment section, and all I see is Greg trolling them.
Yeah. Oh, is that all you see? That's amazing.
Oh, you saw that?
I didn't even know that. Now I'm gonna have to go find that because that's gonna be one of my guilty pleasures. That's hilarious. I'm not surprised because you see how Greg gets when it comes to anything Bills.
And Josh Allen might be done for the year, which puts a smile on my face because I hate him.
Where did you hear that? Because I heard
he might be. He might be.
Okay.
I
heard he had like a
nothing's
sprain.
been confirmed, but it could be Tommy John.
Ooh, I heard that, but then I heard them contradict that like a day later and say, "Don't chill out on the Tommy John. It doesn't look like that's what's going to happen."
And what upsets me about on Twitter, I saw some Patriot fan says if Josh Allen's done for the year, put an asterisk on whoever wins the AFC East.
See, I told you. I told you. I don't want to deal with that. I want Allen to play, and I want to still outgun them. We already beat them once. The Jets beat them. I want to take the AFC East or whatever we do with him healthy. I don't care. I don't want any excuses. I don't want any BS. I don't want any nonsense, Greg. That's how I feel about it.
Bro, if he's me too, Larry. I want him to be playing, but if he's done for the year, let's say, they're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think.
I mean, yeah, he and a couple people said that today too. They said even when he is playing, relying exclusively on him is difficult because when he struggles, and you saw him, for lack of a better term, no pun intended, but I guess I'll use the pun. He dropped the ball on Sunday, man. He dropped the ball, literally and figuratively. So, it's interesting. I don't know if he'll be out or not. I think their loss is interesting. They're 0-2 in the division, so you can't talk that much shit when you're 0-2 in the division, Greg. So they got vulnerabilities.
I'm actually debating on going to that game in Buffalo. Let the Bills fans talk their smack, and hopefully the Dolphins come out, and I'll be in their ear the entire night.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, it's gonna be cold. It's a fun game. It's a fun game to go to, Greg. Yeah. What's that? December 18th or something like that?
Something like that, but
oh yeah,
it might be cold, and I don't want to go freeze my bum off.
Oh, bro, I like freezing at football games. I just, you put a bunch of layers on, you drink something hot. You got one of those hot like Knish things. It's like a potato. It's like piping hot. You got like, I don't know. I'm with that, man. I'll do that. I'll do that. I don't know about you, but I'll do that.
Hey, by the way,
yeah.
I used to go to, like I said, I watch Phin-Addicts. That's why when year 2 of Josh Allen, I know the Buffalo fans, because I used to go there. They had one question. They wanted to know if it's Josh Allen's fault that they're playing terrible, or is it Brian Daboll's fault that they're playing terrible? So the same doubts that the Dolphins fans had on Tua, they had similar concerns with Josh Allen year 2.
Right.
Oh yeah, I wanted to bring that up. I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently on Twitter this morning, I saw that someone in Florida, voted for Tua for Senate, which I found hilarious.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That's hilarious. Tua's got that swag, man.
Bro, I might have to get my Tua jersey.
Yeah, Tua. I mean, look, Tua's out. I became like I told you guys, and I told this channel on another video. I'm on a Tua train, man. Like, you see what you see. When it's good, it's good. If you're an objective observer and you keep it real and you don't have an agenda, it's hard not to be on the Tua train right now because he's doing everything that you would want somebody to do that's playing at a high level as a quarterback.
Hey, you guys could be on the Tua train. I'm on the Noah's Ark.
You're on the Noah's Ark? Damn. Oh. This guy's getting ambitious. He's getting ambitious now. The Noah's Ark. Noah looks like, what the thing with Noah is? I kind of understand why they picked him, because if you look at him, he's big. Like, he's big and he's fast. Like, I get it.
He's a thumper, too. He could be a thumper, too, man.
He can be. That's what I'm saying. He kind of went in, flew in a couple times. Looked like he was going to hit somebody. So I don't know. He's got a little something, man. But I don't think he's covering great still. It just still something to be desired there. John, what up, bro?
And by the way, I'm on Noah's Ark with Ross, and this offseason we're going to be doing a lot of tampering.
Oh yeah, there he is, baby. There he is. He's in his tamper and tie. That's his tamper tie right there.
I don't even know
tamper
what to think
tie,
about
bro.
that, but I get it now. You're going to be on the yacht living the life. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I come?
Always making some kind
Bro,
of innuendo.
Larry,
Yes.
after the game, you know how there was some questionable calls in that game?
Yes.
I was on the train of Ross was paying the refs.
Oh my God, Greg. Why do you bring these theories up? And now, next thing you know, Mike Florio's gonna be scrolling on his toilet, see this video because he never watches me. I'm obviously, and then he's gonna be like, "Oh, that's a good idea." Next thing you're gonna be like Mike Florio talking to Chris Sims, like, "So, last thing I'm thinking about is Stephen Ross. I heard it from my sources. He wants to win. He's got money. He's paying the officials." And then next thing you know, all over Dolphins world and all the Bills fans, all the newspaper are going to pick it up because that's what always happens with Mike Florio.
Refgate.
And that's what he did. Like Mike Florio the other day with this game. He spent like a whole 20 minutes. I thought he was going to talk about the game. He spent 20 minutes just talking about the missed call at the end. Like, and these guys don't get it right and they need replay. And I'm like, Florio, stay on target, sir. But Greg, so thanks a lot for that one. I mean, I appreciate it, and so does this guy. But John, what's up, bro? You're on here, you're chilling. You're in Florida in spirit with the palm trees behind you.
I wish, yeah. That's yeah. I'm in Florida right now, absolutely.
Mentally.
I just listened to you guys talk. I'm loving it. Larry, you touched on like the playoffs and. Yeah. I was totally disagreeing with you at first. You're going into it. I'm like, no, divisions, they deserve a home game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you started going into like how we go off of overall win record and all of this. I'm starting to think, boy, now I have my doubts. But I did want to say something to that. Okay,
mm-hmm.
So I'm in the Seattle area. There was something called the Beastquake. I don't know if you guys remember it.
They were 8-8.
They were 7-9 that year,
yes.
Seattle.
Yes.
And so this perfect example, they got a home game, and the Saints had to come into town. They were like 11-5.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really competitive game, like 37-34, something like that. The Seahawks won. There was a beastquake, like literally Marshawn Lynch went off. I think he hit off of every defender. It caused an earthquake in Seattle. That's not a joke. The trimmers machines went off. Everyone was just going nuts, right?
That's crazy. That's awesome.
But that's a good example of like, I don't, it's a beauty of the game. I don't know. There's something about winning your division and getting that home playoff game that I think is traditional to our sport. So although I agree with you logically, traditionally, what are we giving up? And I don't know that I want to go down that road. So that was just that was a thought I had offhand. And I love your impressions, by the way. They are hilarious. Your voice impression, they're funny, man. Funny as hell.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, and actually that game is that solidified my belief, because initially I was on the train like, well, if they don't have the record, they shouldn't even be in it. And that solidified my belief that Seattle run. I think they won that game. Did they win another one after that? That solidified my belief that division winners definitely are in the playoffs. I still wonder about, like, that example could go either way. It's like, yeah, they got a home game and it turned out awesome. On the other hand, it's like, damn, the Saints had to go to one of the toughest places in the country to play, and they had such a good record. But that's an opinion thing. We're never gonna. We can have different opinions. I like your example because that's one of the main ones I always think about, and I agree they deserve to be there, and maybe they do deserve a home game. They win a division. They're the champs of their division. So hey, you can't win your division, you got to go on the road. That is the way it is. So.
Bro, the Bucks had to go on the Washington, that one wild card when the Bucks won the Super Bowl that year. I honestly thought Washington could have pulled it off.
Yeah, that was when Washington had a pretty bad record too, if I recall. Yeah, so that's fun, and that is playoff football. I mean, that's playoff football. You never know what's going to happen. Now you punched your ticket. You outplayed the teams in your division. You punched your ticket. Now show us what you can do. And I guess, John, to your point, they're not Like it's like when we have like March Madness and stuff, and people are like, "Oh, this team doesn't belong to that team."
Exactly.
Then they make a run, and you're like, "Well, I guess they did belong." Well, you can't say a division winner with a worse record doesn't belong when they win. So I guess they do belong. So it's an interesting conversation for sure. It really is. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping
then-
we're there.
One thing I looked up: the 7-9 Rams hosted the 11-6, 11-5, whatever, Seattle Seahawks, and they beat them in the wild card.
See, so it happens. It happens. So John, what do you think?
7-9.
What do you think of the game Sunday, John? What was your thoughts overall? On
Wow.
the whole thing?
It's Larry. Look, I'm born in '84. I heard in one of your things you're born in like '84. I heard something
85.
like that.
Yep, 85.
85.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
78,
Lifelong.
baby.
I'm telling you, I've been a Dolphin fan longer than I even remember watching football. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a weird state right now with the fence because I am not nervous with the game. I did not care that Justin Fields was running all over us because I am thinking I can't believe I'm going to say this, and I have a lot of doubts, and I am a skeptic still, but Tua makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
When he's back there, and it's an odd feeling, and the games are really, really exciting. But I need to temper my expectations too. So our last 3 victories have felt magical, but let's put them into perspective. Pittsburgh, who is currently 2-6, we help with that. Detroit, who is 2-6, we help with that. And the Bears, who are 3-6, we help with that. So really, it's been a pretty magical 3 games. At the end of the day, we haven't really beat anybody. So I'm excited. I'm comfortable. I'm not worried. But it might also be the quality of opponent. Our all-star quarterback right now. So that's my take. I'm excited, but also let's slow down a minute. Let's see what happens against San Francisco.
Yeah, and I think, John, what I'm most worried about actually is not even like we could go to San Fran. It's a road game. We could get our teeth kicked in, and I'll still be okay because, hey, we spoke. But here's what I'm worried about. Losing to Cleveland or Houston, and I'm not worried we're going to lose, but, like, against Chicago, again, I was comfortable every time Tua had the ball. I was like, some team is going to somebody's going to drop the ball here. Somebody's not going to score, and then they're going to get the advantage. And he never did until the end. We were fine, but I'm worried about one of those what the F games because we already absorbed our losses when he was out. We went 0-3. We can't lose to Cleveland, and we can't lose to Houston. I'm not saying we will, but lose to them, and all of a sudden you can't lose to San Francisco. And now you have a real problem. Because we're not going to win all those games at the end of the year.
The only 2 games I feel like we can afford to lose is San Fran and the Packers.
Yeah, and I don't think we lose to the Packers, honestly. I think
because you want to lose to the NFC teams because it doesn't really matter. If you lose to an AFC team, that puts you kind of behind.
Yes. I'm worried, though. Like, so I'm less worried about the Pats the deeper we get into the season. They just don't look very good. They're still a division rival. It's still on the road. They just don't look very good to me, though. Like, whereas the Bills, I'm worried about. The Jets were at home, but that could be a big game at the end of the
Sunday
year.
night, maybe.
But you got to think, Zach Wilson, hey, he's doing what he has to do to win, but him versus Tua without Breece Hall, it'll be interesting with their secondary because they got a nice secondary to match up with us, but I don't know.
This is shaping up to be the game of the year, Larry. I mean, honestly, it's going to come. I mean, we might all honestly, there might be AFC East might have 3 teams, even with that game.
Maybe
but that
4.
game's going to be big, man.
We might all be in the playoffs. So, like, I think realistically, if we win, if we take care of business these next couple weeks, and then we get into a position where we could split the final month or hopefully have a win, just come out with a winning record even by 1 game, we're looking at the playoffs. But you got to get yourself in position because that's a gauntlet, bro. Going out, I don't know how they're going to do the California trip. Like, are they going to fly out there, fly back home, and then fly back? Or are they going to stay in California? It's like a hockey or basketball trip where they stay out there. Was that already announced, Shake?
Yeah. They said this during the preseason.
Okay. That's good to know because
Practice at USC.
Well, then I still wonder, like, how does that affect you? Now now you're in California. Now you're taking like a bus trip or a train trip or whatever, or maybe a quick plane trip. It's just an interesting dynamic. It's not going to be easy. And look, San Francisco's good right now, and they're getting better. And the Chargers, I don't think are great, but they're not a bad team. So you're on their turf, and we play San Francisco first.
Yeah.
Then, so you go through a gauntlet team. Now you got to play a formidable team while you're away from home. It's not gonna be easy.
Who do we play?
Listen, man. Shanahan is good against his assistants.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that. Shanahan knows what McDaniel's gonna do. He raised that kid, or he grew up with that kid. He's like, if he's Michael, then he's like Tom Hagen, because he was the adopted son of the Shanahans or whatever, McDaniel. So, but
who do we play when we come back from that West Coast trip?
Is that Green Bay? That's Buffalo?
Oh, no, that's not good. Buffalo.
It's San Francisco Chargers. Then we go to Buffalo, and then we come back and play Green Bay in Christmas.
I think that Buffalo game might be an out because if we're going to be on the West Coast for 2 weeks, coming back to the East Coast. Oh, hey, what's up?
Bro, why they do that to us? That is tough, man. You know what? I guess that's the trade-off for sending Buffalo to us like week 3 and them literally passing out on the field from the heat. I guess it's give or take. We got to go play in the cold after spending a week in California.
So then after Green Bay, we got to go to New England, and then we come home to host the last game to the Jets.
Let me pull up. I'm pulling up the schedule right now because I want to see this. I want to
right
revisit.
Here,
yeah.
All right. Well, go through it, John. What were you gonna say?
I mean, even with these hard teams, I mean, we just beat some easy ones. We got some hard teams coming up. I still feel really confident in this team. But we might be. I thought we were going to win by a lot more against Pittsburgh, Detroit, and the Bears. And you know what? It was a lot closer than I thought it should have been, even with a falling out QB. So I might, we might just be. I'm feeling confident, but they might be a lot of close games we're in for. I mean, yeah.
No, I agree, and we better get that defense shaped up because we're going on shootouts against like the Lions. You get it because the Lions have been decent on offense all year with a terrible secondary. Chicago, again, they're a middling team. Now this is his breakout game. Let's see if he does it week in and week out. Then we're not the outlier. But if he doesn't, that's another team that's like and we're shooting out with them. We're not going to be shooting out against San Francisco and whatnot because they're going to have a better defense and they're going to tax our defense a little more. So I don't know. But let's go through the schedule because I'm curious now. I know what my prediction was early in the year. Shake, what's the schedule? Go game by game. I want all of us to kind of weigh in here. I want to see the lay of the land.
Where are we starting from?
Well, next week is Cleveland. So, I think we'll handle business there. We better. Then you got to bye.
We'll win the bye week.
Then you got a Texans, right?
We got Texans.
We're going to put 40 on Texans.
Then we go to the 49ers.
Greg, you stop it. Every time you say we're going to blow somebody out, we have like a nail biter. I don't want to hear anything. Every time I'm on this show on Wednesday, somebody has to say, well, I think it's time for a blowout. And then I'm sitting there on Sunday like, what is going on? Like,
Houston.
Well, you know what I do, though? Like, because just to keep the channel, like the channel's mojo and the channel's like jinxing to a minimum, whenever somebody says that, I say, like, at the end of the show, after everybody's final thought, I go, and I don't think we're going to blow out just for the record, just to, like, keep the mojo good on this channel. But anyway, Greg.
I don't say we blow people out, but it's Houston.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Texans. Then we go to San Francisco. Then we go to the Chargers.
Okay.
Then we go to the Bills.
That's the gauntlet. So the Packers, as of right now, and we'll see in a month. As of right now, that little Christmas break is kind of what we're looking at with the Packers because those other two teams are just those three other teams. That's a gauntlet.
A Christmas game, right?
Christmas Day, bro, which is cool, right?
Well,
like Christmas Day is not always on a Sunday. It's awesome that it is. You get Dolphins ball.
The best gift you could give me can't come from this house. It has to come from the Dolphins on that day.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Sets us up for a Christmas present because so here's how I see it. I see we better take care of business against these next two teams. There's no excuse not to. It's at home. It's a home breather, a 3-week home breather because you got the game this week, a bye week, and then you got another game against two teams that are more than just beatable. You take care of business. You enjoy your November in Miami, basically. You're basically spending November in Miami. You enjoy it. You put in the work. You win those 2 games. Now we're up to 8-3. That's exactly where you want to be because now you're going into that gauntlet. And I call San Diego part of the gauntlet only because it's on the road in the midst of this road trip. So you better win. I think we're going to hope we split the California games at worst. You don't want to lose. You don't want to go into because now you're going into Buffalo. And if you're going into Buffalo limping like on a down slide, that is not going to be fun. I hope they win at least one of those California games because now you're at 9-4. And you're coming into Buffalo, and it's a big game, but your record is big. Who knows what their record will be? It might be similar. There's a lot on the for some of the marbles. And then I'm not going to say you get a breather because no team in this league is a breather, but the Packers are not playing well this year. They didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. It's back home. I think that's where we could try to.
Aaron Rodgers had our number, hasn't he? I mean, I remember some devastation from that guy.
We beat him too under Philbin. So we only play them, every 4 years? I remember when under Philbin we beat them. Didn't we? Because, Fasano threw did the Lambeau leap or pretended to do it. And then I think we lost the next one.
We lost that game.
Which game?
We lost that.
Yeah, we lost that.
Yeah, I believe we
lost
that year. I think we ran in the playoffs or something like that. We lost.
No, that was
Packers.
early in the year, I thought.
We were leading, I think, in multiple games with these guys.
Let me look up because I thought we beat them once. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, he just gives me nightmares, and I heard it was on Christmas, so I was.
By the way, Greg,
he should give every opposing defense,
Greg,
nightmares.
just so you know, we have 2 holiday games. The Gators play FSU Thanksgiving.
Okay, so here, just so you guys can put your minds at ease, I was right. So October 22nd, 06, we beat them. October 17th, 2010, they beat us in overtime. And then in 14 and in 18, we beat them.
Oh, no kidding.
So that's what I'm saying. 14 was the season I was talking about with Philbin. And then or maybe that was Gase. I don't know. Maybe Philbin was 10. That's why you got. I don't remember. No, 10 had to be Sperano.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're a slouch, but I'm not as worried at home with the way they're playing this year and our history against them as of recent. I think we can take care of the Packers. What's next after that, Shake? Is that now the Pats Jets?
We go to New England.
And then the Jets.
Yeah.
So we got a nice little couple weeks of Miami, and then this season is like make or break time. Like you got the gauntlet in
that
California.
might be Sunday night.
So think about this. So now you got, they might flex it. So now you got, say you go 8-3. Say you split the California games. Now you're 9-4. Say Buffalo beats us, because it's hard to sweep a team. Now you're 9-5. You better take care of business against Green Bay, 10-5. I think we take care of business against New England, even though it's on the road. I didn't give it to us in my preseason predictions, but I think we take them. I do. Now you're 11. So that could be for the division or something, or wild card berths against the Jets. And I'm not saying we're definitely going to beat New England, but that little stretch, I think that California to Green Bay stretch, you better come out of there at least 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
You better beat Green Bay and San Diego or surprise San Francisco or surprise Buffalo. It's going to be hard, though, because I bet you the odds makers are going to have us favored in one of those games, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2. With the Chargers, depending how they're playing, how we're playing, they're definitely going to have us as underdogs against San Fran and Buffalo. Doesn't mean we are going to be. We're going to be, and I wouldn't doubt San Diego. So that's one in. They are going to have us at 1-3, the odds makers. So you better. It's not the end of the world either, but you got to take, first and foremost, we better take care of business this week and against Houston because we got to bank those wins. We can't lose either one of those games.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, the division is still in play here, and I'm gonna echo Greg's concerns about Josh Allen. Now, I was thinking the guy's indestructible. He was grabbing his elbow at the end of that game, and they had him bomb a late one down the field. And Sean McDermott came out, I think, the next day and said, he'll be fine, all of that. And then like a day or two later, he's like, we'll see if he plays. So it seems great.
I don't know about all that.
The guy's got an arm like a, I mean, it's a really good arm. But if he's got a lingering elbow issue, And then I mentioned in the chat earlier, Ryan Tannehill had an issue with his knee, and it didn't require surgery. And at the end of the day, he tore that thing completely out, right? I mean, we can't say that. Who knows with Josh Allen what could happen, what could transpire over the coming weeks.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. And like you said, he tweaked it. Even if he tries to play, it doesn't mean he's going to be at his full potential, and it doesn't mean that he's not going to re-injure it or tweak it again. Now that would vastly change.
And they had that bomb. He threw a bomb at the end of that game right after injuring it. Did anyone else notice that?
I saw
it.
I've been thinking about it all week because every time I read something about his elbow, I always go, didn't he launch like one of the farthest balls in the air, like of the season or something? Like, how did who's to say he didn't hyperextend it from there? Or like he did. He launched it after being injured. It was 4th and like 20, and he ran up and just launched the thing.
Yeah, a doctor would not advise to do that, I think is the point I'm trying to get at.
Right.
So although it went pretty far, who knows what else he could have done to that thing.
Agreed.
So, I mean, it could be nothing, or this could be something really serious. You just, if you recall RG3 in the playoff game, Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan, I think was his name, he sent RG3 out there and destroyed his career with his knee.
I remember that. You remember
that
those
extra
days?
Oh yeah, man.
The Redskins,
and
right?
I saw that. I mean, Josh Allen hurt his elbow. Next thing you know, he was tossing a long one. Who knows?
Yeah. No, but we had Tua with all the controversy, and I'm not going to go back through it and all that, but he was wobbly, threw the perfect pass, and beat the Bills, perfect pass. And then the next thing you know, against Cincinnati, he's fencing. We still don't know, and there's still no medical evidence that it was linked, the 2 injuries. But, when you get outside the box, like, maybe they were linked, or maybe it had some impact on it. So just because he threw it, to your point, John, doesn't mean that he's fine, So it's something to keep an eye on. And you never know how things go. Like, we're on a high right now. We could be on a low, but same with these other teams. San Francisco could hit a bump in the road. I mean, early in the season, when their quarterback goes down, you trot out Garoppolo again, who a lot of people are down on. No one's saying that San Francisco's a Super Bowl favorite at that juncture. Actually, earlier in the year, we're kind of counting down their losses, so our draft pick goes up. Now, all of a sudden, they're contenders. They may stay that way. They're a good team. Shanahan's a good coach. They got a lot of weapons, but they may not. I mean, the Chargers could slink down worse. Like, you never know how things shake out. So, that's why you got to go week to week. But I do think we better bank these 2 games because that's going to be a tough stretch. That's, it's a shame that Tua got hurt earlier in the year because I do think that early Jets game and I don't know about Cincinnati. I mean, like, I was there. Okay, so could we go toe-to-toe with them had Tua stayed in the game? How did Tua look? Tua looked good. He looked sharp. Our defense made some serious stops. The game was close even with Teddy in there. So could we have won? Yes. Same time, I was in the building. We were on short rest. That team, those fans were wound up, and the Bengals are no slouch either. So I don't know. And then Vikings, same thing. I mean, but long story short, I think we would have at least come out with 1 or 2 wins at least. So it would have helped us in this stretch later. But John, I'm not trying to even rain. I'm just like having the conversation because you brought it up, and I'm into it, and I feel great too. But to your point about being wary, like, I'm at a high I haven't been at since the early 90s, which scares me because A, the early 90s let me down anyway, and B, I'm just waiting for like something stupid, like just like the beginning of the year we were 3-0, all of a sudden like the nonsense happened. We go on through, like, I don't want anything bad to happen, but I'm always waiting for that shoe. I'm like, how long can we keep this up? Like, and then you never know. We could lose this week, and everybody's going to say the sky is falling, and then we could come out and win all 3 of those games, the 2 California games and the Bills, and everything's fine. The NFL's crazy, and it really is any given Sunday. So
it's like when I come home and the missus is nice to me, I'm like, all right, what the hell did you break?
True. You're waiting for the other shoe, bro. You're waiting for the other shoe.
I think, okay, she's coming around. All right.
She's finally coming up. Yeah, and then that next morning, like, never mind. Blows up about something, and you're like, not this again. Moment. Yeah, never mind.
I always say, hey, look, I'm going to say at least one dumb thing a day, all right? You just got to forgive me for that.
Just forgive me and throw it out, and just or tell me when I say it. Instead of, like, putting it away, like, and then I come home from work and I had like the best day at work and I'm like, hey, and she's like, give me the culture. I'm like, what? You don't even know why I'm mad. Like, what? Why? Because you know what you did this morning? And you're like, I don't know. I was on the way to the car. And then you're mad because she's mad because you were happy. And now you're mad. And you're like, then it makes you more mad. And then I know how it goes. I know how it goes. I'm not currently, in a committed cohabitating relationship, but I've been in plenty. So I know what you guys are going through. So,
yeah. But no, listen, bottom line is if Buffalo wants sympathy, they better look between R and T in the dictionary because they're getting any. Because, listen, we didn't get any sympathy when Tua was out.
Exactly.
So they're not getting any because Josh Allen is out. Next man up. That's it. No excuses. No, is a loss is a loss.
No, I agree. It's just a matter of is he going to be out or who do they have this week?
Bro, when I was in the Phin-Addicts trolling them, there were some Bills fans calling him, saying that he sucks.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no. I think I saw some people say he sucks, he's trash. We need to move on. I don't know.
What?
I think that's what I saw.
No way you saw that.
I think I saw at least one.
No,
right
trust me. Trust me. I'll never forget. And I swear on everything holy. I'll never forget. I was on Facebook Live and I was watching Bill Belichick's press conference the night that they lost to Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
And they were saying, fire Tom Brady and fire Bill Belichick. How the hell can we see these guys?
But that's just hyperbole. You know they don't really want to fire him. You know if they fired Brady.
They were saying, oh, no, Tom Brady's past his prime. We need another quarterback.
Well,
these coaches are old, and so, they're washed up. So
I do think that there is some merit. I actually suspect that Belichick wanted to move on from Brady like 2-3 years before he did, maybe 4 years. I think when he had Garoppolo, when that was that whole controversy, I think he was trying to move on from him because that was notorious Belichick, right? Like you get a guy right before he falls, and Brady, I think, is showing us like, he's a hell of a player, like, but he was surrounded by a lot of weapons in Tampa. He had a lot going for him in Tampa. So whether or not that was the right decision or not to keep him, they won another Super Bowl, didn't they? Well, I don't know, but that the last 2 years he was on the downswing because we beat them. That 1 year where we ended their ability to get the home field advantage in the playoffs, and it wound up costing them the Super Bowl because they couldn't get in because they lost.
That was the year Andy Reid said, hell to the Dolphins.
Yes. He sent like barbecue to Brian Flores or something from Kansas City.
Guys, we got so lucky, even obviously before that when the Patriots just basically gave away Garoppolo to San Francisco for a second-round pick.
Yes.
I mean, because Garoppolo's the perfect quarterback for Belichick, and he was under Brady's tutelage. I mean, that could have been another 15 years of disaster for us.
Yes. Because think about it, John. Think about Mac Jones is not half the quarterback that Garoppolo is.
And, I love Mac Jones, man. Yeah.
But he tries to make him that. But imagine if he actually had Garoppolo to work with. He'd be winning because he's winning in San Francisco. They can complain all they want that he's not getting to the final stage or whatever, but the guy's going to NFC championships like almost quasi-perennially. What would he do with Belichick and the Pats? He'd be a thorn in our side, to say the least. I agree with you, John. I'm glad that Brady had his little pissy fit and went to the NFC. And then, I don't know why he wanted to come back to us. He was flirting with the Magoo. I don't know what was going on, but, for whatever reason, I'm glad Brady played those little games. It helped us. But all right. So look. I mean, it's a chill show tonight. I got to get up early, so we could wind it up early. Now we said our piece.
I don't know if we should wind it up so soon. I mean, what do you think, Mr. Hef?
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm not the boss.
All right.
I'm not even the boss at my house.
Ain't that the truth, boy? I'll tell you what.
So look, any other hot button topics anybody wants to bring out, we could address them, and then we'll.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring up something. There was a tweet I saw, that same one, Larry, about Tua's third down percentage and how it was pretty hot. It almost looked too good to be true, and honestly, I didn't verify it, but something I did do was go to our team stats for 2022. And I looked at our third down efficiency, and it's obviously as a team, but we're hovering around 41% efficiency. And what I found was interesting, and Tua is obviously going to be higher than that, I would assume.
Right.
But what was interesting is his defenses against us are about a 44% efficiency on third down. And to me, I thought that was really eye-opening. We really do have a bend but don't break, but it's actually a break defense kind of sometimes now. So if our quarterback is on a record pace for third down completions, then our defense is also on a record pace for allowing third down completions.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it shows why we're in these shootouts again. I think last year they were bend but don't break. This year, earlier in the year, they seemed like they were more of a bend but don't break, and now the last couple weeks they seem like they're just break but don't bend at the end. If you want it, and McDaniel addressed that because I thought it was interesting because guys are getting into it with me already on message boards and whatnot on Sunday. When I said, look, Tua missed the throw to Waddle that would have sealed the game. Same thing as X's INT would have sealed the game, but they called it back. I wasn't saying people were like, oh, you're putting it on Tua. I'm like, no, I'm not. He killed it. He had a great game. I'm just saying that particular throw. But then I said interesting.
Don't forget the Smythe.
Yeah. That one too. Yeah, but that one to me, I put the onus on both of them because he's waiting to throw it to Smythe. Smythe is looking. Then he throws it past the sticks, but Smythe, he didn't get his head around. By the time he got his head around it, he couldn't go for it. It was an interesting throw. I think Tua actually addressed that in the presser post-game. I think he said, he was looking at me, I was looking at him. I don't know if he was going to go upfield or come back to the sticks, so I threw it to the sticks, and he was, hesitating. I saw Smythe hesitate. He's looking at Tua, but then he, you know what I'm saying? You've seen these throws. You watch football long enough. The guy usually is staring at him, and then he gets it. Smythe was and I was like, look at him. And I don't know. I don't put that all on Tua, that throw.
They both knew it was bad. And honestly, when I saw it, I was like, fuck it, Tua. And then I was like, wait a second. Dude's been bowling all game. I should probably chill.
Well, yeah.
But let's look at this for a second. I think Tua's won us the game. My opinion is changing about the guy. These last 2 weeks, I don't care who's that quarterback. Skyler, Teddy, definitely not Teddy.
No.
We're going to lose that game without anyone but Tua, I think, at QB. And our defense, my damn dogs, boy, I swear, they're worse than my kids sometimes.
Yes, they
and our defense, what the hell is happening? Am I to blame Josh Boyer? Can you guys make sense of what's happening to our defense? Detroit and the Bears. I'm sorry, guys, this is Detroit. They got a good offense sometimes. I don't think they're that good against our D. They shouldn't be. And the Bears, what's wrong with our defense right now? Should I be concerned, or is this a one-off?
Well, I think I do think Detroit's pretty good. I think when you're looking at the Detroit game, you got to take into account our secondary is so banged up. I mean, we really are on our 6th, 7th corners. I mean, we are depleted. You're talking about Trill was out in the preseason. Needham's out now. X got burned once or twice, but he's still the best corner. He's still not playing bad. But that's Detroit, and I think we stepped up in the second half in Detroit. They scored a lot in the first half. Second half, we made some adjustments. With Chicago, you're talking about an elusive, strong, fast, just freak athlete of a quarterback who, to be honest, I don't think we went in there the way we went up against Jackson with Baltimore, where we knew and expected it, keyed in on him. And even when we did, he burned us this year. Last year, we dominated him. Our defense, it's tough to guard those guys no matter what. They're going to make plays. But B, I don't know if they were ready for that. I don't know if it's a one-off because Josh Allen has given us fits, but not this year. So I don't know how to kind of characterize it. I can say I'm not going to blame. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to blame Boyer. The reason is guys were in position all the time against both of those teams, especially against Chicago. They were in the backfield not only when Fields ran, but when these running backs were getting 5 yards a carry. They were being met in the backfield, juked out or pushed to the side, and then he's getting the plays. That's on the player. Because if Boyer called a defensive front and a defensive play call that allowed our player to get in the backfield on the guy, then Boyer's not the problem. The player's the problem at the point of execution. I think, honestly, the problem with the defense is we're depleted in the secondary. So the whole way it's built and designed is to have a sturdy secondary so you can get more creative up front, and they're just not there. And so that's why we bring in Chubb, because we didn't have a natural pass rush with the 4. Now you're going to try to create that with Phillips on one side, Chubb on the other, and then Agba causing trouble in the middle. Whether it works or not, I don't know. I don't think Boyer's like stellar or anything. Also don't think this is his fault. I think this is personnel and execution.
And
And
Shake, I don't.
that Josh Boyer strength and defense is the secondary.
Right.
And credit to you, Shake. When you came out, you had said something I not really thought of, but you were like, "This is a Belichick style defense, and they're weak against the QB run." But I just feel like even it's a lot. It's a lot of points we've been giving up. Now you had said something, Larry, about our secondary, and it got me thinking about what Byron Jones. Does anyone know? Is he coming back? Do you think he's done for the season? Does anyone have any information on that?
The last thing that I read was today, which actually McDaniel's presser today, I think. What he said was, or either it was McDaniel said it, or it was like one of the reporters, I think it was Joe Shad, one of them saying, like speculating from the rumblings they heard off the record was, there's actually a genuine, like there was speculation that Jones is like purposely delaying coming back and all that. What I'm hearing is that's not the case. He wants to help the team. He wants to contribute. There may be some issue where he definitely doesn't want to play unless he's 100%, but he does want to play. Here's my speculation. From what I heard today, like they both mutually want to come back, but there's still no timeline. My speculation is we have this game and then we have the bye week. My speculation is he either gets on the practice field and comes back at least practicing after the bye week. If we don't see him after the bye week, I don't think he plays this year. If we see him after the bye week, he's probably not going to play against Houston, but he might be playing like in 2 or 3 games because then that's the final stretch anyway. It's the 4 games of the year. I think if he's not back after the bye, he ain't coming back. And if he is back after the bye, that's when we'll see him. That's my speculation.
Do you think so? You think he might be? I'm skeptical of this because if he's playing the Dolphins, right? Like I'm taking my money, I'm done with you guys, I'm walking away. But then again, what if the Dolphins actually make a Super Bowl run and we're just a QB or a cornerback away from winning it all? Like that wouldn't look good for the guy either.
No, I don't think he's even doing. I think it's like a matter because from what I understand too, we can trade him because then we're unloading the salary. But if we were to cut him, we got a bunch of dead money. So we're going to keep him unless we trade him. So he's coming back next year anyway. It's not like one of these guys where we're pissed off. You didn't do what you got to do. Now you're getting cut because then we're going to eat the salary with no reward. Doesn't make any sense. So I think he's coming back or he's getting traded. I don't know if there's any animosity there because they maybe were going to trade him. There was some rumors to that effect. I don't know. But I do think he knows we're in the thick of it. We could make a Super Bowl run now. So he either comes back because he's physically able or willing or both after the bye. Because remember, he can come back and start practicing. Doesn't mean he plays in the game. Or he doesn't. If he doesn't, that means either A, he didn't care enough, he wants out. B, injury legitimately is not healed enough. Or C, some combination of both. But I really think he either comes back, starts practicing during or after the bye, or we don't see him all year. I honestly, and I don't even, from what I heard from Shad today, it seemed like it wasn't games. Like he wanted to come back and his injury really is nagging. But I don't know.
If Byron comes back, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, Byron comes back, it's a huge shot in the arm. I mean, it's a huge, not just because now you got 2 shutdown corners on the outside, and Byron's the real shutdown corner. Remember that. X is a turnover like guy. He's a good corner. He can stay on guys. Byron's a shutdown corner. Now you can play with some of these other kids too and like put them in the nickel, move them around here, maybe try somebody at safety. You can do things if he comes back. It would be a huge shot in the arm. I've been hoping for that. And the perfect time would be the bye because then he can not play for Houston but start practicing, and then this crazy gauntlet we got to go through with the California and Buffalo trip, he could come back. That would be absolutely huge. And I want to make one more comment about the defense real quick because you brought it up, John. I thought it was just fascinating, not really to any end or any point, but just to say, McDaniel, when I was going with this Tua thing, like, Tua missed a pass at the end, but he pretty much dominated the whole game, kind of similar with the defense. They sucked the whole game, but then at the end, here comes Melvin Ingram making a sack at like the most. Though the time Fields does not want to be sacked the most, he makes the sack. And then I know they didn't call the pass interference, whatever, but it was still good coverage. They were on the guy. And then they were, I know also they want to say, well, Fields hit him right in the hands. Yes. But he had to jump for it and he had to squeeze it to the sideline because the guy was on him there too. Defense played good when it mattered too at the end. So that's just complimentary football. I think that's what they mean when they say like good teams find ways to win. Like whether it's defense at the end, offense all game, then defense stepping up, or defense all game, then offense stepping up, like Tua making that huge throw to Waddle against Buffalo. Like we are finding ways to win. I hope that they,
Yes.
right? I hope
We
they
are.
button it up, but we're finding
So
ways.
different. It feels that is the different part of this year. It's we are finding ways to win instead of letting we're losing by some stupid stuff.
Yes.
Granted, I threw out the stat about, I'm gonna look at my notes. Pittsburgh, Detroit, and the Bears, we beat them all. But you know what? In the past, the Dolphins would have gave up 1 or 2 of those games.
Yes, and that's why I'm so like not saying, oh, we're gonna blow anybody out or getting overhyped. That's why I'm so focused, and I hope they are in this Cleveland and Houston game, because we need them. We can't lose one of those stupid games like we always do. And they always say that too, John. They say like good teams find ways to win, championship teams find ways to win. They always say bad teams or teams not going to the championship always find ways to lose. We were always finding ways to lose in the old days. Now we're finding ways to win. Yes. And that's the hallmark of a good team. I mean, right now, like, we're not just a team, like, eking out wins where it could be, like, one season, like 08. 08 was, like, we had the Wildcat. We won the division. It was a fun season, but you weren't looking at, like, a really great team. Now you're looking at, we're breaking metrics. We're breaking numbers. We're ranking high. We're getting, like, buzz. We're putting up points. Now we haven't beat the best of the best the last couple of weeks, but early in the season, we did. Baltimore and Buffalo were playoff contenders, and New England's not the bottom of the barrel. They're a 500 mediocre team. So we've beaten, and we hung with Cincinnati with our second-string quarterback in Cincinnati on short rest. So we are actually a good team this year. It's just a matter of how do things break and how do we take care of our business. If we lose, it's because we dropped the ball somewhere, unless it's against San Francisco or Buffalo. Anybody else on that schedule, if we lose, something we did not execute was a problem, whether it's defense or offense. Only 2 teams on that schedule I could see that are going to line up toe-to-toe, and if we do everything right and bring our game, that can crack us and just beat us, are San Francisco and Buffalo. Everybody else, if we bring our A game, we play both sides of the ball, we should win. We are going to lose one of them, but that's just life. But, like, we should beat them. We are a good team this year.
This year, I'm actually having a weird time. I don't know what the word is.
Compartmentalize
my emotions. Yeah, there you go. Like, because I've never really been here before. Right. I don't know how to necessarily act. Is this how the Patriots feel when they're like, they got that team? I just kind of feel like we got something cooking. And you'd said earlier, we're not a Super Bowl bound team. No, not yet, but the potential's here.
And that's why these contracts, like everybody's jumping off a cliff and talking about, they're going for it this year. They're the LA Rams. Well, I'm like, no, we're not. What's going on is they got like a 3-year window now, not a 1-year window. It's not this year. They're going to make a run this year, but the next 2 years before we got to pay some guys, we are going to make this run. And while these guys are still in their prime, we got to get this defense healthy, whether that means you get guys back or whether that means you make some signings and some trades or a strong draft in the offseason to revamp this defense. The window's now. We are a good team now. We are, I believe, a top 5 team right now. Now, does that change it towards the end of the year? Maybe. Right now, midway through the season, stats, win-loss, everything, we are a top 5 team. Period. You can't name me more than 5. You can't name me 5 teams better than us. You can't.
With I believe, a legit defense, and right now, frankly, a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
What happens with those kind of teams? They win.
They win. Go. And look, you got Tyreek Hill has more yards than NFL teams' rosters have right now. Like,
unbelievable.
And Waddle is like number 4 in the league, and he's number 1 in the league, and he's on pace to break the all-time record. I mean, this is not, again, and I always get flack when I'm like, I'm not talking about Marino, I'm not talking about the Rams, but like, those are the kind of years where they set records and they say the greatest show on turf and all that. Those are the years that go down in lore. This isn't just us being fans. The metrics and numbers are there. These are the types of years that go down in history. Does it amount to something like the Rams, we hope, or does it kind of go into history like the Lions did? We hope not. But this is the stuff that great teams do. This is a memorable season. This is a legitimately really good football team, especially on offense.
Shake, what do you think, man? Last year, didn't we have Devontae Parker? And we're like, is this dude's back all right? And can we hit him up the sideline? And then now we got this guy Tyreek Hill. Holy
Yeah,
crap!
it's a lot different.
Shake,
Yeah,
what do you
but
think, man?
speaking of Davante Parker, don't you think it's funny that it's week 9 and he hasn't missed a game yet?
Really?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
He's
I
playing
haven't heard his
all-
name, so I don't even know if he's playing actually. But yeah, he hasn't missed a game. That's incredible. Good for him.
I think it's because he's not getting the ball nearly as much on us. He was carrying the team. You had to throw it up to him like at least 5 times a game and let him go acrobatic.
Yeah.
And in New England, he had one big game. It was like 2 touchdowns, but that's it. I always liked the guy. Like I thought he was a cool weapon. Like he would have been a cool weapon, but once you get Wilson in there and you already have Hill and Waddle, like there's no place for him. And he's a decent receiver, a decent third receiver on a lot of teams, maybe a number 2 on teams that want to run that pro-style offense. But on a team like this, you see the difference between having a guy like him, and no disrespect to him, he played his ass off for us for a lot of years, but a guy like him and a guy like Hill and Waddle, and you're like, okay, wow. Like, and how about Hill? Can we talk about the fact that Hill, on the field, yes, but like the dude, I didn't know that much about his personality and stuff till he came here. Usually when you get these receivers, they're like divas, you know, and they're like all this other
straight
stuff.
diva.
This guy is like a class act. He's a captain. He's always speaking very cerebrally about everything. He's giving kids jerseys after the games. He's taught like he's low key almost. Like he says stuff about Tua, but it's like good natured fun. It's not like this loudmouth crap. And he makes these acrobatic tough plays. And the guy, knock on wood, he's always coming down like landing the right way, protecting his body. Like he's just like one hell of a football player. And man, like this guy, like I think people, I guess around the league might have even overlooked it. Unless these guys are on your team, you don't follow them as intimately with like their videos and their interviews. And like this guy is more than just a really talented skill position receiver who's really fast. This guy is like, you know, like a team leader too. Like I wouldn't underestimate the captain prowess, the leadership, and the example stuff that he brings to the table. The way he works and the way he goes about his craft, I think is underrated a little bit maybe outside of league circles. Like this guy is like a big addition to this team in more ways than just his play. And on the field, he's an absolute superstar of a receiver. I mean, this guy is just good.
The one thing that I like about him though is when McDaniel says that he allows McDaniels to rip him in front of the team. So that sets the tone for the other receivers. You know what I'm saying? If he could get ripped into, you know what I mean?
But that's leadership, like not being a diva. Like you don't yell at me; it's in my contract. I leave at 3. You know, like, he's not doing that. And he also, I liked how he said that Wes Welker holds him accountable when he walks in and he's just not in the mood or he's not in that. And we've all been there. No matter how good we are, how enthusiastic we are, some days we're just not there. And he's like, Wes Welker holds me accountable. He's like, oh, you're not there? Let's go. And he's like, I need that. And he's receptive to coaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for Tyreek actually seems like a rare breed to me, and I have to now reflect on Ndamukong Suh and that big contract we gave. And to my recollection, he was kind of a jerk to his teammates, and he wasn't necessarily the team guy, and he wanted to do the plays he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And from Tyreek Hill, he's more than just a player. He's a culture shift.
Yes.
And the way he believed in Tua, I think is making a difference. He's like built Tua with confidence, and I don't know how that doesn't have an effect on him.
No, I agree with that. And it's funny. Did you see he changed his Twitter profile picture to like Tua's face, like up in the screen, which is hilarious? Has anybody seen that?
I love that, man. He's really supporting the guy.
Shake, have you seen that? Have you seen Tyreek's new Twitter photo? It's Tua, it's hilarious. So you know, like he. I think early on, I kind of was even like, okay, why is he talking so much this and that? And I assumed it was because he was all the bravado and whatever. But actually, now you get to know he's like, no, he was just up in Tua, having good nature, just fun with everything, clowning everybody else because he knew what he was seeing. And the dude really is just he's just a phenomenal addition to the line. And I think Chubb, when they introduced him, you could see like he's buying into the cultural fit. Like these are young, these aren't guys to the point about like, Tannenbaum and these prior iterations of the Dolphins, where they would bring in these guys that were either at their pinnacle of their prime or past their prime, pay them all this money and expect them to deliver something. These are kids, like young men, going into their primes who are buying still into the team concept, even as they are getting these massive contracts. It's a good vibe right now, and you got to ride that vibe too, because that always lasts however long it lasts, and then runs its course too. So we got like a 3-year window.
Let's give Hill a lot of credit here too, because I feel like he's stuck his neck out for Tua to the point, to me as a Dolphin fan, I'm like, bro,
me too.
Chill out a little bit.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
And he could have looked really foolish coming here if Tua didn't ball out. He's saying those things, So I mean, he's he's backing up his talk, and he's bought into this team, and having that guy, you all have to buy in. Defense, offense, special teams. I don't care if Tyreek's bought in. That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, so at the end of the day, too, it's just like these guys do their homework, too. They have conversations going on in the background. They have other stuff going on. So it's like you got to figure that a guy who knows what he's doing that well, that like he did whatever homework he had to do. He knows his craft. He knows film. He knows football better than like a lot of us do. And he must have saw something with the franchise and with Tua and with whatever they proposed the offense to be with McDaniel that he bought in. I know he joked like, oh, I wasn't going to go to the Jets because of taxes. I'm sure that figured in to some extent, but like I think there was more to it for sure. I like his personality is to joke around. He saw something he believed in, and now it's coming to fruition. The guy knows football. Football at this level, you can be a freak athlete all you want, and he is one, but you don't excel past that level and become truly dominant, really record-breaking caliber unless you're also incorporating an understanding of the game and the intricacies of how to run your routes, how to sit in zones, how to get yourself open, how to take care of your body. These are all cerebral things that the kid obviously has. So he obviously did his research, and he's been a hell of an addition to this team.
Yeah, and he's living up to his contract, which is weird for a big free agent. Actually, I think he's doing better than his contract is odd because he's making a lot of money.
Which is crazy.
But yeah.
CB,
I'm so glad you brought him up, Larry, man. Yeah. He's been a real difference maker on this team.
An absolute difference maker. So he's been another pleasure of the season. He really has.
Absolutely.
So yeah, look. Fins, man. Fins all day, every day. Look at this guy. What are you, leaving work in your Fins hoodie?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Look at this guy. Like, what is this? Where is this? Like a hangar? Like an airport hangar or something? What do you work? What is this? The mall? What is this?
It's a grocery store.
Oh, I thought it was a grocery store. I was wondering. That's like one of the best jobs ever. I worked at the grocery store for a while when I was young, man. We used to go. The antics I did there. Oh my God, the antics. Like I worked in produce and grocery, and never at the front. Always like in the back, like unloading the trucks and like you know. Oh, you do the front. See, I used to go hang up. I used to get yelled at. Because I'd be one of the dudes who would be like the back dude, like the like 19-year-old dude, but I would be up at the front talking to the girls who were at like the register, and he'd be like, Larry's always up here talking to the girl. Don't you have a truck to unload or whatever? I'm like, yeah. It's grocery store life. That's like the best time. Greg, enjoy it, okay? And enjoy this.
One of the best jobs out there. I swear, I had that job too at one point. I love that damn thing.
Hell yeah, bro. We all had it. Like, it's the best job, man. It's great.
By the way, I used to work at Albertsons. It was a grocery chain down here.
I know Albertsons.
Yeah, and when I was working at the deli, I met Ron Conrad. He was with his mom.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He was with his mother, just chilling, just went into Albertsons at the deli?
He bought a pound of turkey. So.
Oh, that's because he's training with that protein, bro. That healthy protein, that clean protein. It makes sense.
Wait, there's Albertsons in Florida?
Well, they ran out. They left Florida a while back.
Dude, Albertsons is the parent company of another store in Jersey too, and I forget the name, but I know of Albertsons, even though we don't have any in New York, New Jersey, but I know the name because it's so big, and they definitely own. Okay. Yeah, they own somebody over here too, regionally. Like they're huge. Yeah, I didn't know you had them all the way out west, so you have them out there.
Yeah, they got a whole chain of Albertsons out here, man.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
They must be a national player, and they probably bought up some other ones.
Yeah.
Florida, I always think of Publix and what else is in Florida? Piggly Wiggly, is that in Florida?
No, we got
Winn-Dixie. Yeah, Dix and Public. I think a Public.
Winn-Dixie.
Publix, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. And then I know like Mid-Atlantic's the Food Lion, like the Carolinas, and then I know because I drive all over the country. Huh?
Albertsons was part of Food Lion. It's part of Food Lion.
See, because I'm telling you, they're like a big company they're like the parent company of a lot of these other ones, but then they have their own like original stores too, corporate stores.
It's like bacon, Larry. There's only 4 bacon manufacturers, yet there's 25 brands. That's the craziest damn thing.
Yeah, 4 farms, like that's it.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah, come here for your bacon talk and your Dolphins talk.
There you go. I told the guy in the thing the other time. We're talking to Dolphins. We're just talking stuff too. We're just talking. Yeah. Get involved. You think Barstool started with like we're gonna set out to have an empire of just all this discussion? No, they're like we're gonna talk some sports. We're talking Dolphins. Who knows where this goes? We have some.
And this is real talk, by the way, and that's what you mentioned it earlier. This is the real talk. This is the stuff you don't get in the national media. You don't get this crap on the radio. This is truly, this is fans expressing their opinions. And you know what? We all agree with each other on certain levels and slightly disagree, but this is just such a beautiful platform. I love it here. My wife jokes around, but you guys are like all my friends, and you're my Dolphin friends, man. I love you guys.
Yeah. Bro, I appreciate that. I was thinking, because I used to go on forums during the games, and now I have like a group chat in like the Dolphin Den. I go on there and like talk during the game, and it's people from all over the country. And, we become friends through this stuff, and it's an awesome experience. And this particular channel, John, to your point, like, I always wanted it to be like, we're going to be like, the way we speak to each other is going to be like clear, wait your turn, like objectivity, decent like dialogue, agreeing and disagreeing. But some of these others, everybody's screaming over each other. You can't hear them. Like, I wanted this to be what it is, and it's growing slowly but surely, but we have a consistent base now every week, and it's working. So it's awesome to have you guys on too. It's just been
you guys will get there, man. I'm telling you, this is good stuff.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate it a lot. So all right. Now we can sign off. And John, I appreciate you actually extending it because that wound up being an even better conversation. I trusted your instinct. I saw where you were. I'm like, no, I'm gonna ride with John a little bit, and you were right.
Right on. Yeah.
So, first, I'm going to give Greg you the final thought just because you're walking out of your grocery store job, and it's just kind of epic. So I'm going to give you the first final thought right now because it's just fitting.
Yeah, man, it's cold up here in New England, man. I wish I was living in Florida, but hey, what can you do?
It's crisp here in Jersey. It's just right here. I like it like that.
Yeah, the weather up here is like one day it's warm and humid.
Same here.
And the next day it's freezing cold. But anyway, final thoughts, man. I can't wait to go down there to Miami to one of these games.
It's fun. I've been several times.
I can't wait to meet some of you all if you go to the game with it when I go.
We'll meet.
But yeah, man, Browns this week. I think what we need to do to win is if we win the coin toss, we need to take the ball first. Here's why: go down, make it 7-zip, get a 3-and-out with Jacoby Brissett because come on, it's Jacoby Brissett. Get a 3-and-out, then go down and score, make it 14-0. Right? Jacoby Brissett's gonna have to beat you with his arm. Don't let Chubb, don't let Hunt beat us. We gotta let Jacoby Brissett with his arm beat us. That's what I got. I'm gonna say the Dolphins win this game. Let's go with 20-14 because I don't pick big blowouts. But when we play Houston, I'm gonna don't worry, we'll save the Houston game. But that's all I got.
All right, Greg, we love it, and thanks for taking us to work with you, bro. That was an added perk, perk for the viewers.
I think next time I work Wednesdays 2 weeks from now on Thanksgiving, so I'll try to get on, but it probably will be busy.
It's gonna be crazy. That's fun too, when you just go nuts.
I might not be there that week.
All right, brother. All right, dude. Go Fins. We'll talk to you later, my bro. Get home safe. Peace. John, your final thoughts, sir?
Yeah, Tua's he's proven something to me this year, and I'm really excited about that. He's proven me wrong in areas, and I'm not completely bought in on the guy, but we don't win, in my opinion, we don't win these past 2 games without him. So he's proven his worth to this team and to this franchise, and he's making me a believer. I'm looking forward to those winter games. He's still got some proving to me to do. We got the playoffs coming up. There's a long road ahead, but you know what? We're on a really good path right now, and freaking go Dolphins. These
Hell
games
yeah.
are exciting. My wife is watching them, dude, and that is something, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love
she's watching. She always like, this is boring as hell. I'm out of here. Boy, she's watching these games. She's like, all right. So yeah, with
That's
that,
great.
I'm out of here, man. See you guys
later, my brother. Have a good night, man. See you soon.
Yeah.
Great stuff, man. Shake, this channel's taking off, man. What do you think about the camaraderie we got? What do you think about what we got going on here, Shake? We conceptualized this. We were just on TD's channel, man, just shooting the shit every couple Wednesdays. All of a sudden, we got this cohesion. Look what's going on. Now I got little banners, and we got people coming on regulars, and I mean, it's going well, man.
By the way, this is the goalpost was just a tease. Come the bye week. After the bye week, I'm announcing now. I'm gonna have a new background. Because this is my room. I mean, my office, whatever. So, but I'm gonna move the camera to another section in there. I'm gonna have a nice. It's gonna be an epic little background.
I like it, bro. I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
It's gonna be after the bye week.
I love it, bro. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for that. Okay, so after the bye week, Shake Hefner's gonna have a new background for us. There's always something you got going on, Shake, and I respect that. I like that.
But no, man, as long as I come here Wednesday and I get to have my salty tour and my victory smoke, life is good, my brother. Life is good, bro. Man. Like I tell people, man, this ain't college. This ain't about style points. You win, you get in. That's all that matters, man.
True.
And thanks again for giving us a voice. Fins up. I'm out of here.
All right, my brother. I'll talk to you soon. Later, Shake. So yeah, man, it's all about giving people a voice. It's all about doing what this channel set out to do, which is have objective discussions, open and honest discussions with clarity, with cohesion, with people exchanging ideas freely and comfortably and sticking to facts and logic and making their points. And emotion comes through too, but emotion comes through when it's appropriate. So look, I think this week, the Miami gets the win, but it's never easy. It's never going to be easy. Brissett knows us a little bit. He probably wants a little bit of a revenge game. I like the guy. He's a nice guy, but we should be able to take care of business. We need to take care of business, as we discussed on the panel. We need to take care of business against this team. We need to take care of business against Houston. We can't fool around. We can't slack. We got to do what we got to do because this gauntlet, this California trip, and then back to Buffalo is going to be no joke. Guys, one of these next 2 weeks, I might take off the show because we got the bye coming up. I don't know if it's going to be after this game or in between the games, or we'll figure it out. It might be that Thanksgiving week. We got a lot going on. It might take off. But either way, I'll let you guys know. You will hear from me either before the game Sunday or after the game Sunday. You know you always hear from me. You'll get a recap. You'll get a reaction. If you haven't done so yet and you like what you hear on this channel, whether you're listening live or, last week we had like 200-something people listen after the show aired just on Rewind. If you haven't done so yet, take the millisecond that it takes right now while I'm waiting. Either in real time or, later when you're watching. Just hit subscribe. Hit subscribe. And if you've already hit subscribe but you like the show, how about just copy the link and share the channel and tell your other friends, hey, check this channel out. Or some forum that you're on, Dolphins related, or some page that you're on, Dolphins related. Just share this channel. Let them know we're trying to help the channel grow. Let them know we got a good forum for people to come on and discuss Fins. Let them know we're a little bit, we respect everybody else who's doing it. We're in that space, but we also got our own little space, our own little dynamic, and there's room for everybody in this Dolphins universe out here. So do me that favor. I really appreciate it. All the contributions, everybody in Fury fam. I love you to death. I appreciate all that you do. You keep me going on Wednesdays. It's always a great conversation. It's always a great time. It's great camaraderie, man. Fins up, and I will talk to you guys all very soon. Have a great night.
I know you heard me on the radio.